Thank you, Maharaj. Coming to this city of Chicago is a pilgrimage for me, because Swami Vivekananda and his spiritual power, spiritual vibration, I believe, is reverberating every nook and corner of this city. Blessed are those who are born in this city. Blessed are those who are living in this city. The pioneer, epoch maker, Swami Vivekananda in the Parliament of Religions lived in this city, breathed in this city, and unfolded himself on the stage of Parliament of Religions. What I can say about the contribution of this great personality? He is the Prometheus, modern Prometheus. We know the Greek legend Prometheus stole fire from the heaven for the good of the humanity, and Swami Vivekananda brought spirituality from the heaven for the good of the humanity. How can I explain his contribution? The transformation of Swami Vivekananda from the self-absorbed saint to a compassionate humanitarian is a shift from traditional Vedanta to a modern scientific outlook of Vedanta that is called Neo-Vedanta. It was in Kashipur, the northern part of Calcutta, India, that Swami Vivekananda, then known Narendranath, requested Sri Ramakrishna, who was in sick bed, to become absorbed, merged in Samadhi, the highest attainment of spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna immediately scolded him, "Shame on you! You are asking for such an insignificant thing? How selfish you are! I thought that you would become like a huge banyan tree and thousands of people would take shelter in your shed. But now I see that you are asking for your own liberation." This incident had a tremendous impact on Swami Vivekananda's life. So it was Sri Ramakrishna, the mentor, the guru, spiritual teacher, who brought about the change in Swami Vivekananda's spiritual energies and purpose. And with this touch of his master, Swamiji burst upon the world not as a passive saint, but as a dynamic lover of humanity. I think it is most appropriate to refer another incident at Kashipur here. One day, Sri Ramakrishna called Narendranath alone and wrote on a wall with a charcoal, in ecstatic mood, "Naren will teach others when he calls out within and without." Then he drew a picture of a sheep on the wall. On another occasion, when Narendra refused to bow down to Sri Ramakrishna's wishes, Sri Ramakrishna said to him, "You must teach others. You will be compelled to do so." All these incidents signified that Swamiji would become a world teacher and that he would teach in his own country and abroad. The picture of the sheep signified that he would travel abroad by ship. And that too happened. These were some of the turning points in Swami Vivekananda's life. Chicago is the city where Swamiji became famous overnight. He was quite aware of his mission from the time he arrived in Chicago in 1893. During the period, he stayed in the house of Cornelia Conger. She says in her memoir, once Swamiji said to my grandmother that he had had a greatest temptation in his life in America. My grandmother liked to tease him a bit and said, "Who is she, Swami?" He burst out laughing and said, "Oh, it is not a lady, it is an organization." Actually, from the beginning of his stay in America, Swamiji was very keen to form an organization in India. He wrote innumerable letters in this period to his brother disciple and Alasinga Perumal, to whom he said, "Now go to work for the organization." Afterwards, he himself formed a society in New York. He left USA for the first time in mid-April 1896, and after traveling through Europe, he reached India in early 1897. On 20th February, he reached the Alambazar Monastery, Kolkata, India. Several months earlier, while discussing with some of his disciples in Detroit, Swamiji was asked how Indians would accept him after his return. Swamiji replied with confidence, "But India shall listen to me. I will shake India to her foundation. I will send an electric thrill through her veins. Wait, you will see how India receives me. It is India, my own India, that know truly how to appreciate what I have given so freely here and with my life's blood. India will receive me in triumph." It happened literally. Mammoth crowd in all cities through which he traveled gave him a royal reception. He received an unprecedented ovation. This enthusiasm in his presence produced a kind of national awakening. The immediate task before him, the Swami felt, was to work for India's regeneration from within the country itself. But Swamiji found it most difficult to reorient the outlook of his brother disciples from ideas of personal salvation to the needs of the world. This led to a submission of the individual in service to all. Sri Ramakrishna once admonished him to commune with God with eyes open. Perhaps here we may remember the first interaction of Swami Vivekananda, the then Narendranath, to Sri Ramakrishna. When they meet first, Swamiji asked Sri Ramakrishna, "Have you seen God?" Sri Ramakrishna replied, "Yes, I have seen God and I can show you more clearly." Perhaps Swamiji saw God with open eyes and with closed eyes. So in India, Swamiji saw God in open eyes, and in the West, Swamiji saw God in closed eyes. That is to say, through the service of the poor, the sick, the hungry, the ignorant, those are the God. By this time, several young men inspired by Swami's fiery words had joined to the order. Another result of Swami Vivekananda's propagation of the new ideology was the starting of a famine relief center in Murshidabad district, India, by one of his brother disciples, Swami Akhandananda. At this point of time, he wanted to give a definite shape to his long cherished idea of starting of an organization for spiritual, mental and material service to the humanity with the cooperation of the monks, devotees and general public. It would be an organization which combines Indian spirituality with the Western scientific and technological advancement. On 1st May 1897, at the house of late Balaram Basu in northern part of Kolkata, India, he called a meeting of the monastic and lay devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, and thus came into existence the Ramakrishna Mission, which is called the Vedanta Center everywhere in the world except India. In India, it is called Ramakrishna Math and Mission. The aim of the organization was to spread the truths that Sri Ramakrishna, for the good of the humanity, had preached and taught through the example of his own life on the basis of Vedanta, and to help others to put them into practice for their physical, mental and spiritual advancement. Swami Vivekananda's love and compassion for the humanity was what spearheaded all these happenings. The suffering of his countrymen, their age-old starvation, ignorance and social disabilities moved him deeply. Confronted with these tragic situations, his abundant spirituality and dynamic philosophy flowed into a stream of compassion and love, into a national message of renunciation and service. This indeed is very similar to the life of Buddha. Vedanta once again became dynamic and practical. It is this that makes Swami Vivekananda not mere a great rishi, but also a lover of humanity. Going to foreign countries in America and England, he was confronted with a different situation. There were people who were lacking in nothing by way of social and material amenities, but they were lacking in something fundamental which had turned their very material advancements into nothing. Outer wealth and glory had been achieved at the cost of inner richness and peace. The modern man was in search of a soul, in search which his science and wisdom just failed him. Modern science cannot supplement loneliness, boredom, want of love, so on and so forth. Swami Vivekananda stood before the Western world as an authentic voice of the spirit in man and the spirit in the universe. To the West, he was the teacher of Vedanta, of the inward contemplative life, the teacher of active tolerance and fellowship, the teacher of universal love. From the treasure of ancient India, he catered to needs of the modern West. Hence, he became a teacher of love of God flowing into service of man, of faith flowing into works, and both forging character, which is manliness, and manliness, which is spirituality. Although Swami Vivekananda was the lover of mankind, yet he was not an armchair dreamer and man of emotion. Each of his activities or fundamental notion was on the bedrock of strong philosophical and metaphysical foundation. That was the modern outlook of Vedanta or Neo-Vedanta. Neo-Vedanta is not just a new kind of philosophy like Neo-Kantism or Neo-Realism. It is primarily a spiritual movement with its roots lying deep in the personal life of man and the social life, individual and the collective. It is to this aspect of Neo-Vedanta the term practical Vedanta has been applied by Swami Vivekananda himself. However, it is important to know that Swamiji spoke about two types of practical Vedanta. What are these? Swamiji knew that in the West, people did not accept the concept of direct supersensuous realization, except only a handful of mystics. For them, religion meant faith and good work. So Swamiji had to prove to the Westerners that the self can be directly realized. According to him, religion is realization. This realization of the self is practicable. Most of Swamiji's lecture on practical Vedanta contained in volume 2 of the complete works of Swami Vivekananda and also issued as a separate booklet deals with this aspect. It may more accurately be called practicable Vedanta. Swamiji wanted to demonstrate to the Western people that they could attain self-realization even while living a normal life in the world. Therefore, he said, one thing you may remark in reading these books, means the Upanishads, that it is all internal perception. If you ask me if this can be practicable, my answer is, it has been practical first and philosophical next. In India, Swamiji knew that the Hindu concept of direct realization of the self was understood by all. But the pressing problem of the nation were utter poverty and backwardness of the masses. How to bring food and modicum of comforts to the millions of sunken people? The people have to lift themselves by their own efforts. For that, a new spirit of self-confidence, a new sense of power must be infused in them. And Vedanta does really contain certain life-giving principle, which when applied in practical life can make a fisherman a better fisherman, a student a better student, a lawyer a better lawyer. This application of Vedantic principle to solve the day-to-day problems of the individual and also social and political problems of the country is the second type of practical Vedanta Swamiji taught. It may be more properly called Vedanta in practical life. In brief, Swamiji solved the problems of the two countries. Swamiji found that the problem of the West is the existential problem, the problem of loneliness, the problem of boredom, the problem of stress. At the same time, Swamiji found that the problem of the East is the socio-economic problem. So, Swami Vivekananda applied the same Vedantic principle to solve the socio-economic problem in the East and the existential problem in the West. So, to solve the existential problem in the West, we can call it is a practicable Vedanta, and we can say that it is the realization of God with closed eyes. Now Swami Vivekananda applied the same principle of Vedanta for the East to solve the socio-economic problem, for the upliftment of the masses. And we can call it that Swamiji saw God in open-eyes, that is, the God, poor God, the downtrodden God, the illiterate God, the hungry God. So these two types of practical Vedanta, Swamiji combined into a single ideal for one's own salvation and for the good of the world. In Sanskrit, Atmana Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. It is the motto for the Ramakrishna movement. We can explain it in another way also. According to Swami Vivekananda, the spiritual life is a journey, is an evolution from ape, super ape to the Homo sapiens. It has not been stopped there. So the man, according to Swami Vivekananda, the man is the instinctual man. And there is a way of evolution. What is the evolution after instinctual man? The evolution is from instinctual man to rational man, and from rational man to the enlightened spiritual man. This is the evolution process according to Swami Vivekananda. And if we go through the Upanishads, Swamiji again and again, Swamiji advised us back to the Upanishad. So in Upanishad, especially in the Kata Upanishad, we find there are two ways in front of the human being. One is called Shreya, one is called Preya. One is good and another is pleasure. So pleasure is temporal and good is permanent. The controlled, restricted and ethical life. So if we choose the pleasure, immediate enjoyment, according to Upanishad, it will lead us to the darkness. And then, if we choose the path of Shreya, the path of good, the ethical, the controlled life, it will lead us to Abhyudaya, the human excellence, the recognition, success. So the path of good will lead us to Abhyudaya. That is not the end. That will lead us to Nishreyasha, the final enlightenment. We start with Shreya, and that will lead us to the higher goal, that is the Nisreya. So these are the two paths in front of human being. So Swamiji said that yes, we should start with the ethical life. We shall start with a controlled life, and that will lead us to Abhyudaya. For the good of many, that is the ethical life. Swamiji said, what is morality? Selflessness is moral. Unselfishness is moral. And selfishness is immoral. So according to Swami Vivekananda, that will lead us to Abhyudaya, the human excellence. And that is Swami Vivekananda, he said, the good of the world, Jagat Hitaya cha, Jagat Hitaya, good of many. And that will lead us Atmana Mokshartham, the Nisreyas. So start with Shreya, the path of good, and that will take Abhyudaya, the human excellence, and that will lead us the Nishreyas, the Atmana Mokshartham. So these are the ideals, the evolution in the human life. Instinctual human to the rational human, and rational human to the enlightened human, spiritual human. So this is the way Swamiji set before us. So this is the unique contribution of Swami Vivekananda in the to the humanity. So the main powerhouse of this movement is the Ramakrishna mission organized by Swamiji himself. For he knew that without a powerful machinery, without some organization, the ideal of Vedanta could not influence a large number of people for a long period of time. The life-giving principle of Neo-Vedanta propounded by Swami Vivekananda is the light and power that are emanating from the source for the good of many, for the welfare of many. Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, that Buddha propounded. So, the urge towards God just turned to the love of the humanity. And this is not the emotion. It has a concrete, fundamental philosophical basis. The traditional Vedanta, it did not accept the humanitarian aspect, but Swami Vivekananda turned it to the humanitarian aspect of it. This is the unique contribution of Sri Ramakrishna for the humanity, to the establishment of an order which can cater the ancient Indian wisdom to the humanity. And for this, the motto, propagate the motto for the individual development, for the collective development. Atmana Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya cha. One's own salvation and for the good of the world. So this is the unique contribution of Swami Vivekananda. Now I shall seek any question you would have on this regard. If there is any question. Yes, please.
The question I have is about India's struggle for independence and the religious movement of India. Okay. And it's very difficult to find any information to show that because colonialism did one thing, it tried to destroy the Hindu religion very much. And it was that movement to get self-respect for one's religion, Hinduism, that led to the political emancipation of India. But it's very, very difficult to get information in this area at all. And I see that our religion is the one that drove the people to the power of political freedom. Would you please speak on that topic a little bit?
Well, according to Swami Vivekananda, the religion is realization. It is not the dogmas, the doctrines, and the rituals. And Swamiji, as Sri Ramakrishna did, always emphasized the individual enlightenment. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if there are a lot of zero, it has no meaning unless we put a figure, a digit 1, at least 1 in the beginning. So, that is why Swami Vivekananda said, man making is my mission. So, if there is no man, who will bring the independent? Who will, move towards independent? So, Swamiji's idea was to prepare to make man first. Swamiji said, have you seen anywhere that money and other things make man? But man makes money and other things. So first man and then other things. So Swami Vivekananda's view to make man, that is why Swami Vivekananda said, man making is my mission. Swamiji said, you can put the chemicals together and it will react of its own way. They will decide, the person will decide what is good for them at that point of time. So Swami Vivekananda's mission was man-making mission. And it happened. After that, India got the independence. It was a tremendous awakening when Swami Vivekananda went from the abroad. Yes, please.
There are many pages in Vedanta literature such as Asatoma Satgamaya or Sarve
Bhavantu Sukhina.
and so forth. And let everyone be happy and
Yes,
so forth.
yes.
How can we say Vedanta is not humanitarian? And Vivekananda changed that to humanitarian.
Vivekananda did not change it anything. Vivekananda rejuvenated. Vivekananda did not establish any new Vedanta. Just Vivekananda applied the practical side of the same age-old Vedanta. He did not torture any principle of Vedanta, but he applied it, which was in the cave, in the jungle. Because at that point of time, Vedanta was for for individual liberation in spiritual life. Vivekananda made it practical. Yes, please.
Vivekananda ji saw in India that there is lot of poverty. Even somewhere I think I read that tears came to his eyes when the stomach is not full. So teaching of Vedanta or humanity is not how this has impacted India for the Vedanta philosophy to be applied in their everyday life?
It's a very good question, but yes, actually Swami Vivekananda had this idea in India itself, but unless he got the recognition from the World Parliament of Religions, perhaps nobody would have recognized Swami Vivekananda. So that recognition he got from this Parliament of Religion. That is the thing. And he applied that. Yes, please.
You mentioned that Vivekananda mentioned that religion is realization. Okay, where do I start my realization? Do I start it as an individual or a family member or a social being? Where do I start to apply religion? From my individual role or my family role or my social role, where do I start? And are there different parts of religion to apply that?
Yes, realization is the individual pursuit. So it is completely individual spiritual practice, and when it will ripe, it can be applicable for the collective masses also. So it is not that is what Swami Vivekananda said and did. He said, Atmanu mokshartham and jagat hitaya cha, one's own liberation and at the same time for the good of the many. So this is the twin ideal of Ramakrishna mission, the Ramakrishna order. Yes.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Please accept my Ram Maharaj 1843 first of all. My question is that Swamiji was considered to be a great prophet. He was a great prophet. Could you just tell me one or two statements by which he made a prophetic statement for India's development and development of the world?
Oh, yes. He made the statement that India will get the freedom, and India got it. He said in next phase, the China and Russia will come up, and China is now thriving. And then he said, India will come up again. India will be the superpower. We are waiting for that.
Did he tell the date?
Pardon?
Did he tell when it will come out?
Well, he did not mention the particular time period. Yes.
In his literature, we see that Vivekananda is talk many times about strength, courage, valor, awake, and rise and put your shoulder to work, and even freedom. These terms he used. How did he escape the wrath of British, despotic British government?
Well, I told you that Vivekananda was not the secretarian or the leader of a small area or race and caste and creed. He was the leader of the world. So his view was international as for the total humanity. It is not secretarial or religion or caste, creed or like anything. So what he preached for the humanity at large.
Did Gandhi and Vivekananda ever encountered?
Oh yes, actually we found in the history that when Swami Vivekananda was alive, Swami Gandhiji went to Belur Math, but unfortunately on that day, Swami Vivekananda came to Calcutta from Belur Math, so they did not meet. But Swami Gandhiji was requested to speak something about Vivekananda, and he spoke on Vivekananda. He went again to Belur Math the second time when Swamiji already passed away. So he spoke a big talk, a long talk, but the main significant point is that he said that you have come here and you should return. When you will return, you should take something from here. And what is that? Take some one or two message of Swami Vivekananda from here and try to apply that in your life. And he emphasized to study Swami Vivekananda. So that was the main message he gave. Yes, please.
Did Vivekananda actually declare anywhere that he had actually seen God himself?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, yes, please.
In Swami Vivekananda meet Lokmanya Tilak, it is mentioned somewhere I read that as a young sannyasi traveling in India at that time, not knowing the word, he stayed with Lokmanya Tilak in Pune for a few days or something.
Yes, 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 yes. And they traveled in the same train, same compartment also. Yes. Yes. And he was influenced by, Lokmanya Tilak was influenced by Swami Vivekananda very much, yes.
Swamiji, you mentioned Neo-Vedantism that Swami Vivekananda created. In what sense?
It is new. Okay. Principally, it is not new, but he applied it in a new. 3 or 4 points actually there are newly applied. Number 1, he developed a beautiful work theory. We know there are 4 yogas: Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So according to him, yoga is the means, is the practical side of spiritual life, and Vedanta is the principle. So he applied this principle through yoga. Now according to him, he gave a beautiful work theory. And what is that work theory? Those who believe in God, for them work is worship. For them who do not believe in God, for them work for work's sake. This is one thing based on Vedanta. Now, he accepted karma. In traditional Vedanta also accepts karma. But that work is for the purification. According to traditional Vedanta, we must do work for our purification to make us fit to understand the knowledge part of Vedanta. But according to Swami Vivekananda, work individually, the selfless service individually, is the way of liberation. So this is the unique contribution of Swami Vivekananda. Selfless service is the way of liberation. So that is the unique contribution of Swami Vivekananda. So in this way, the same same principle of Vedanta, he applied in day-to-day life. So these are the new things, the application.
Sorry.
Yes.
In Christianity, to become a saint or to be canonized, they have to demonstrate some miracles done by the saint.
Yeah, you are, yes, it is a curiosity for the human being, but, um, but,
Repeat the question.
oh,
We couldn't hear the question.
can you speak it little loudly?
Me?
Yeah.
My name is Subhash Vajpayee. My question was that in Christianity, to be declared a saint, they have to show at least two evidences of miracles done by them. Last one to be canonized is Pope John. In Vivekananda's life, are there any miracles attributed to him in his lifespan? I'm sure he started the world movement. On an individual basis.
Actually, Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, they discouraged this miracle. According to Sri Ramakrishna, we have mentioned this one, the first interaction between Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. He said, "Have you seen God?" He said, "Yes." This is a direct experience. So it is the direct realization. It is nothing which is coming, which is fall down from the sky. Spirituality is nothing like that, which will fall down from the sky. It can be realized, it can be seen, it can be verified. So it is the direct experience. So that was the stand of Swami Vivekananda. If you are really interested, we can say that, you see, this is the miracle what I consider, that I have not seen Swami Vivekananda, I have not seen Sri Ramakrishna, but I read their books and I left my home and hearth for, you see, for my own liberation and for the good of the humanity. Don't you think it is a miracle?
Same question. There is a statement outside that when he met John Rockefeller,
Yeah.
he said that I know the previous lives.
Yeah.
I am the only one who knows it. You don't know it. I know how you have accumulated this wealth. And I am going to tell you what you should do with this wealth. And you should give it away. This statement itself is
Yeah.
the only person who has seen somebody's past lives,
Yeah.
which as a human we cannot do.
Yes. But generally, Swami Vivekananda did not disclose this kind of thing. Yeah. Yes.
I Rajeshri said, Swamiji, I was under the impression that most Swamis and really people who have realized, have attained self-realization, they don't want to, impress people just by showing some miracles. They want you, at least that is my little bit of whatever knowledge I have, very minimal, but they are not trying to impress people by, oh, I'm taking out a watch, or a person can't walk and 1 minute he's walking. They want you to internalize and attain your own self-realization. And I think, as you said, Swamiji's main contribution was, he said, if you worship thousands of Devi Devatas, but do not worship human beings, then you are not doing what you are supposed to do. I mean, realize the God in every human being and start worshipping those downtrodden and those poor people who really need your help. So that was, I think, he moved Hinduism away from just rituals to some practical, dynamic, social reform.
Right. Right. He was very clear. Swami Vivekananda was very clear about the monk of the order. He said that the main task of the monk of the order is to represent through their life the glory of Sri Ramakrishna. So, through our life, one can visualize the glory of Sri Ramakrishna. That is the idea. Yes, please.
Does the law of karma apply to what
Uh, Regarding the karma phala, Indian philosophy, there are 6 philosophical schools in Indian philosophy, and almost all the schools, they have said that it is not possible to remove our fruits of karma, what we have done in this life or previous life or whatever may be the matter. It is almost impossible to remove the fruits of karma. And the fruits of karma, especially the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is said that the fruits of karma will responsible for our next birth. And it said that jati, ayush and bhoga, these 3 things, it will control the fruits of work. We control 3 things: jati, ayush and bhoga. Jati means the what we will take birth. It is a human life or it is what kind of life we take, jati. Then the ayush, how long we will live in our next birth. And bhoga, the sorrow and happiness, the experience of life. So these are the 3 things that will be controlled by the fruits of work. Now, Sri Ramakrishna gave the beautiful solution of this. Sri Ramakrishna's approach is the positive approach. What we have to do, we cannot remove it. If we cannot delete it, the past, the fruits of past karma, the fruits of our work, what shall we do? Sri Ramakrishna suggested, do good work. So that will create some good fruits, and the time will come that will overpower. So do good work, think good things, study good books. So these are the things which will produce good result, and that will overpower and subside the bad karma phala, fruits of work. That is the suggestion. A beautiful example is given by our senior Swamis, and that is the example of ink pot. If there is an ink pot and if you want to clean it without applying your hand or something, what you will do? They suggested, please keep it in a flowing pure white water, and the time will come when the ink will be removed and it will be cleaned. So that is the idea. Pour good thoughts, so think good things, and that will ultimately overpower the bad karma phala and the bad samaskaras. So that is the approach. Yes.
In his life, he removed all that.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Like that, yes.
I have been thinking in this term, but it seems to me that the central message which Gandhi states, Vivekananda states, all of this, is that karma is going to be done. We are the human person, and yes, it does produce the next life and karma bandhan. I'm a Jain, so I know that you have to get rid of it. But it seems to me the best message I've heard simply is that you do karma, and when you give up the fruit, desire for the fruit, then all the bandhans of the karma never apply to it.
Right.
And then you can keep on doing karma, but there are no bandhans for that, there are no earthly results, and you are liberated truly.
Right, what Bhagavad Gita suggested. Yes, I think, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share some of my ideas on Swami Vivekananda. So I am very thankful to Swami Shatmananda ji and thankful to you also to give me patience ahead. Thank you very much.
It was a very lively session, wonderful questions, a nicely also answer, and so many things we came to know. Vivekananda, as Sri Ramakrishna said, he was one of the rishis of Sapta Rishi, if we believe Sri Ramakrishna. And he was the Shiva himself. Because Sri Ramakrishna said that whenever he will understand his own identity, he will leave the body. He went to Amarnath, he saw the Shiva, and then when he came back, that thing happened. And Vivekananda, only in 10 years, he was from 29 to 39, within these 10 years, so many things he has given. And he said, I have given for 1,500 years of thought that you have to think, humanity will think. It's very, very difficult to understand Vivekananda. He himself said the day he passed away, the 4th of July, he said he worshipped Thakur, meditated over there. He came down singing about Ma Kali, and when he was strolling, suddenly soliloquizing, he said, had there been another Vivekananda, he would have understood what I have done. To understand Vivekananda, his contribution, we need a mind like Vivekananda. And his central theme is unselfishness. Central theme is courage. What is that courage? The moment you know that you don't have anything to gain, anything to lose, a tremendous courage comes. And that comes from unselfishness. That he gave, unselfishness is God. And just think the contribution of Vivekananda, we are here in America. The Hindus could think that they are crossing the black water, ocean. The moment the Hindu will cross the ocean, immediately he will be outcasted. That was the idea. For hundreds of years in our society was there. In our society, so many years, they were not giving education to the women. Very peculiar. We lost all that Veda. That's why, again, rejuvenated, as our Swami Prasannatmananda said, rejuvenating that Vedanta. There's one man, 29 years old, he's going on talking like that, giving like that. And miracle, he could see anything, he could do anything. Once he said that if necessary, I can give the shape of each and every one of their mind. Like the soft, that earth is there, from there they give the shape, I can give, but I won't. They have to grow accordingly. 1897 he declared, 50 years after this, India will get the freedom, when no one could dream of freedom. Even the Congress people, they never could think. There was Congress. 1886 Congress was formed, but no one could think for the freedom of India, the power of the British. In the British Empire, sun never go set. It is constantly there. Either sometime it will be there in India or it will be there in America. That was the power of British. And in India segregated, how could think that we could get the freedom from? But Vivekananda applied. And the greatest contribution of Vivekananda for the Indians, he gave the call that right from your birth you are dedicated for the service of your motherland. He didn't say anything about religion. He said, this is your religion. Subjugated people, you have no other religion except one. You have to get the freedom from the oppressors. When the Dhaka University students, they came to him and he was asking, can you please tell us about the religion? He said, religion for you? Only one religion. That you have to fight with the Britishers and you have to gain the freedom. That was the freedom, freedom, freedom. Freedom is the first condition of growth, he was telling. He changed the literature. He changed the thinking capacity, not 33 crores of people. And that too, they were growing, they were living under the pressure of the foreigners. And they developed so many kinds of superstitions. Even in our country you go, so many types of superstitions. And Vivekananda, and not only that, when Vivekananda was here in America, he was going on telling about India, India, India. He never spoke about his guru. He never spoke about his own thing. He only said about India, Indian women, Indian culture. And from India, some of our ancestors, they took all pain to criticize Vivekananda. They used to write letters to Vivekananda. Only one man who was having no one over here. When we came here, we knew someone will be there at the gate in the airport to receive me. When he came, he was, look at the courage. Why? Because he got the call of Sri Ramakrishna. You have to cross the ocean. You have to go over there. He got the blessings of the mother. Mother said, all that you see is only for you. Is it not miracle? That is the greatest miracle. Tremendous power. We have to understand it. Otherwise we won't be. Then he is helping both. This America and India and Pakistan and these, no, human. He is not bound by the geographical boundaries, only human, human, human. And what is human? He said the Taj Mahal, the greatest expression of God. The moving tabernacle, the moving temples, so much of respect he gave to humanity. That is his contribution. So that is the wonderful way, only one person he has done. We should not use him for our narrow gain. One should not. But of course, when you are holding Vivekananda, you are actually holding sun, the burning sun. If you are misusing, you will burn your hands. So one should be very, very careful. So it's so nice. We had a whole month we could talk about Vivekananda, discuss about Vivekananda, think about Vivekananda. And he said only one thing, that my philosophy can be said in 2 sentences, to make people aware about their divine nature and to help them to manifest it. So we have to think ourselves that we are divine. And what is that divinity? And immediately the moment we think about divinity, we started thinking some light blinking somewhere, or some sound we heard, or we can, no, that is not the divinity. That may be some type of power which is not necessary, because all these things have been solved by the science. Now the divinity is love, love and love. That's why when he was asked, who is Sri Ramakrishna? He said L-O-V-E, personified. And the love for not only my kith and kin, that everybody can have, not only for my society, for my religion, for my caste. That is narrowness. Love for everyone. And we have to develop our mind in that fashion. And before death, we will say, we have to tell, I was born in a church, but I am not there to die. I may be by the side of a small river or a pond, but now I am in the ocean. That broadness, that is humanity. That is the contribution of Vivekananda again and again. We have to read, we have to think, and then we have to understand him. And he said, be and make. What is that be? To understand it properly. And what to make? Just after understanding, I sit quiet? No. We have to go and tell people also, but not before becoming be. Am I unselfish? I have to ask myself. Am I really doing something for others? Thinking for others? Praying for others? Then I have the right to say others also to do that, otherwise not. So that is Vivekananda, very practical. Thank you very much for coming. I should say, please come in big number with your friends and family members. There we have, next week we have wonderful two programs. On 5th, it is Saturday, that is our fundraising dinner is there. And second, on 6th, we have two programs. Morning, usual program in the chapel, and the Swami ji is coming, Shantarupananda ji, he will be delivering a lecture, and then we will all go to the Chicago University. And this university, it actually constructed just 1 year before Vivekananda's arrival to Chicago. And this way we had to help. And he said to his another brother, this Raja Maharaj, and his Swami Brahmananda ji, he said in the Abu, standing at the station, railway station, you know why I am going to America? Not to enjoy, but to bring strength for our own people in the India, and particularly our Indian women getting the education, American women, British women. It is Vivekananda's idea. Give them education and take your hands off. All of you know there was nothing, no education for women, even in the Great Britain. He had to fight. And another thing I tell you, that he could really see everything in human mind. When Madame Calvé came, she was a singer, and her only daughter burnt, died. Then the Madame Calvé wanted to commit suicide. Her friend brought her to Swamiji, and Swamiji, without looking at Madame Calvé, he said, oh, you have brought a tempest. And then he went on telling about her without looking at her. You read that in the book. And all our national leaders, these questions were coming, all our national leaders, they are indebted to Swami Vivekananda. Raja Gopalachari, he said, but for him, we would have lost our religion and would not have gained our freedom. So only person. And he is our ideal, Vivekananda. We must have to follow him. This Chicago University, suddenly, they themselves agreed to organize the program, Rockefeller Chapel. And everything they will do, only we will go. They said, Swamiji, we will do everything, only bring people to attend. Please come there and save my face. Please come there. Because that she was telling Swamiji, and then you know they're very peculiar. Now these Americans, they have understood the Indians. When the meeting was going on, it was decided on such and such day, etc., etc. From us, we will speak three of our Swamiji. Baradanandaji will give introduction. He will be giving the introduction. Then Swami Shantarupanandaji and myself. I always give the conclusion because everybody when exhausted and it is easy. Then this way, and then they will speak. I think three of them will speak. And there will be some music, and the Chinmay Mission children is coming. There's a nice program will be there. One American gentleman, I have forgotten his name, he is one of the officials of that university. He was telling Swamiji, in all Indian function, end of the function, there will be cha and samosa. Then what about that? Then I was thinking cha samosa for so many people it will be costly. Who is going to? Then he said, I will give that money, arrange that. So please come over there. We will have all this. When these people are coming forward to get the ideology of Vivekananda, the life-saving ideology, we have to come forward too. Thank you very much and welcome to all the functions.